Joel Embiid really seemed like they took ownership of that game after Jimmy got ejected. Did you see that? And what did you see out of them down the stretch, Joel Embiid?
Yeah, I saw a partnership. You especially saw it when we posted Joe then finding open space as his men left behind Joel's post-up. And then defensively, you could see him talking about what we are doing in pick and rolls. And I agree with you. I think that there was a deeper connection after Jimmy was ejected. And you know, offensively and defensively, you could see what might make you or me say that.
Coach, you're always saying Joel's kind of like, you know, your guy. He's the crown jewel here. He's got responsibility to the organization. How do you think you kind of fulfilled that whole thing tonight, especially once Jimmy left?
I mean, just look at the magnitude of what the numbers say, the influence that the numbers say that he must have had on a game. To have 31 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 block shots, and you win. Well, it's hard to sort of say it any better than that. Like he was dominant. He was dominant. There are times you can see it's still raw, and you know there are some decisions that he probably would like to have over again. But given the volume of playing time lately that he hasn't had, it's just a dominant performance. What more can you say?
Brett, after James got his fifth, you went really big, you know, with Tobias and Mike Scott, and just the trouble, you know, that your length maybe gave them.
Yeah, I think we created 3 turnovers in the last 2 minutes, and to your point, you know, Ben did a heck of a job of just overplaying stuff. Mike Scott did the same thing. They tried to drop it over Mike's shoulder, it went out of bounds. I thought as a team we had a physical play at the end, you know, where Ben ended up just kind of taking the ball and Tobias had those free throws. But it's true, like we went bigger and I thought our length helped us. And defensively, to hold that team to 17 fourth quarter points in a game that's clearly, you know, an important game for both of us, I thought our defense rose to another level in the fourth period when it mattered most.
Brett, over here. Yeah. Brett, there have been, with Joel, there have been 3 guys that he's kind of gotten into it this year and they wound up ejected. Is it his aggressiveness? Is he being targeted by other players? In your estimation, what is that about?
I just think that he's got a, where do I begin? He has a spirit about him. You know, that's the word I choose to use. There's a, you know, there's a belief, there's a swagger, there's a spirit. Choose what words you want. Like, there's got that persona. And then you say, well, he's incredibly physical. Like, you take 7'2", and you have that sort of dynamic personality and kind of the way you live your life and play basketball, and you're completely physical and highly competitive. It produces environments like that. And, you know, as his coach, you kind of wouldn't trade it for much. It's a rare combination that he has with his skill and his personality and his sort of innate competitiveness.
Coach, after losing game 1 and home field advantage, then going on the road without Joel, and when today with Jimmy being out, what does that say about the team when everybody started talking? Oh, they made the moves, but now they lose game 1. What's the mindset of the team now?
I think it's hard to not feel from my seat that it's a tremendous sign. You know, I think that it's a tremendous statement that, and I feel the locker room, I feel the bench, you know, and I like the way, the direction that the team has grown its spirit. And so much, you know, I talked about let's just land the plane, let's get into the playoffs, form, health, and spirit kind of rule the day. And I think that the spirit of the group has continued to rise, where health has taken a hit from time to time. But there is a belief that the group has, and I think games like today, fourth periods like today, coming out of the halftime, game 2 when we were sort of just hanging around. Stuff like that interests me, and I give our group credit. I respect their professionalism.
Right to your right. Having Mike on the floor in those final moments, he hits the shot off a broken play. Are you cognizant in that moment of having an extra veteran guy there? I mean, he has so much more experience than, if this had been the team last year compared to somebody who might be there in that situation.
You feel it because there were lots of plays throughout the game. You just felt like that's a man, like that is an adult in the room. He was physical. There's just a toughness that he brings to the table. And, he's not a big towel swinger. He's not running around beating his chest, but you just see what I feel and see also. And I think that play that you're talking about, after a timeout, we sort of lived in an environment, 3 plays in a row, and we ended up getting buckets out of that to their credit. That play that you're talking about ended up being a play that we wanted to get Joel the ball quick. We went on a high-low. Joe kind of lost the ball and made a pass to Mike. There was obviously the dagger part of the game. JJ had made one, just made a 3 earlier. Mike's, I think, experience and toughness and veteran leadership, I'm sure had a lot to do with the confidence of making that shot.
Coach, right in the front. You were talking about the defense earlier, but can you talk about the offense? Because you guys were really efficient down low, 62 points in the paint compared to 44. And Joel Embiid, 12 out of 22, and Tobias Harris quietly with the 24. Can you talk about the offense?
I mean, the only hiccup I thought was, or the biggest hiccup was we had the turnovers. And I think we were playing catch-up after the first period. When you came in after the first period and they had 7 offensive rebounds and we had 7 turnovers, and you started looking at, I think they had 13 more shot attempts than we did just in the first period. You're kind of lucky to only be down the margin that we were. I think that offensively, it is always a challenge reintroducing Joel back into the group, because there are times in my mind, like, I'll get him the ball every possession down the floor, and I almost mean that. And then, like sometimes you get stuck a little bit, and it gets a little bit stagnant. And so we've won 2 ways. The last 2 games you would have seen, not Joel, and it's maybe more flying around and 3 balls and so on. And then you have Joel, and you got a unique gift and a target that needs touches. And so combining those 2 worlds is the challenge. Offensively tonight, I thought we did a decent job of that. Save the turnovers. I thought our offense did a good job.
Brett here in the middle. I'm wondering what your thoughts were on what their changes in the starting lineup and how that affected you, and how much you anticipated that was going to be the case before the game.
I mean, we guessed it. You never know until obviously it's rolled out. But you're always, your job. It's like, what can they do to change this series? And it is a significant difference to go back to Philadelphia 2-2 instead of 3-1. We all understand that. And so you're trying to, look into your crystal ball and anticipate what might they do. And we talked about it when I was in front of you all before the game. It's like they can go really small, and they did. They didn't play a zone as much as I thought they might, but they did go really small. The reshuffling of the starting lineup, I didn't feel like it really caught us off guard or affected us. I understand, I respect them trying to change some stuff, but how it impacted us, I thought was marginal. Thanks, Brett. Thank you.